Okay, we're ready. Hi, my name is Martin Phillip, and we're here in my kitchen today. This is my son Arlo, and my daughter Anthem is behind the camera, and you may see my other daughter Clementine coming through doing homework. We're home like so many other people, and we're looking for some normalcy. And so today we're going to make some pita sandwiches. I'm going to get Arlo to help me out. And I'm so glad that you're here with us. So let's go. All right, come on over here, Anthem. So, a couple hours ago, I mixed a dough, and this recipe is the Golden Pita recipe off the King Arthur website. And the dough has risen well. Come in here close. So you can see it's definitely ready to be divided. There's some air bubbles, and when I press it, it doesn't really come back. And so it looks to me like it's definitely ready to go. We've given it a little bit more of a rise than what the recipe calls for, just because life. Okay, so there's the dough. And what we're gonna do is divide this into 8 even pieces. And you could do that with a scale. You could definitely do it with a scale so that you get it exactly right. But I don't know that it's entirely necessary. I think we can just divide it into pieces and eyeball it like that. We'll get pretty close. How's that look? It's okay, we'll see. Yeah, I think it's gonna be okay. So, this recipe, and we'll go through it when I mix it, but this recipe has, the one on the website has all, it's made entirely with all-purpose flour, and I used 1/3 of our white whole wheat flour. I really like that flour, and if you go to the website, I wrote a blog about it recently. I like it a lot. So, we're gonna round these, and you've got some experience with that. We call Arlo our roti master because since he was, I don't know how old, young, like maybe 4 or 5, we had him at the stove with tongs cooking flatbreads over an open flame for us, and he got really good at it, and so we started calling him the roti master. And these are kind of like roti, except they're baked in the oven. But you can do pita on the stovetop too. And maybe we'll have a sec. If we can, maybe you can demo some of your skills.
Sure.
Yeah? All right. Awesome. Okay. So come in here close so we can see the rounding. So the dough's pretty gassy. Now, at this point, I don't want to overwork it because if I really add a lot of tension to this, it's going to be hard to get them to roll out. They'll want to snap back. And so what I'm going to do to round them is just very gently pull the outside and tuck it to the middle. This is a good method if you're making rolls at home, even if you are pre-shaping a dough that you want to be round. That's a good way to do it. You want to try one? You have to make it look harder than that, or everybody's going to think that this is too easy. Yeah, that's good. So you're just pulling up into the middle, and then you look and see, that looks perfect. And then we're putting it on I have a piece of baker's linen over here that has some flour in it, and it'll be a good spot for those to rest because they won't stick. So we're rounding these just a little bit. Did we get 8 pieces? We did. Okay, look at us. When you're done, yeah, just throw it over here and I'll get it. That's good. That's good. They don't have to be super round. The reason that we're rounding is that I want to make round pita, right? I don't want to have squarish or weirdly shaped pita. And so if we round them a little bit, it's going to help us with the final form. I do the same thing with other things that I want to be round too. So if I'm making pie dough, when I chill the pie dough, I'll actually make it into a round so that then when I go to roll it out, it more easily transforms into a round form. Okay, So there's that one and that one. And I'm just gonna cover them and then we'll leave them there. Okay, so for the inside of the pita sandwich, we've got a couple of options. We have some vegetarians in my house, and so we're gonna have a vegetarian version, but then we also have some people who like sausage and other delicious things, and so we have some lamb sausage from a local farm also that we had in the freezer. One thing on that I would say is that we're cooking with what we have in the house. We've tried not to make any extra trips to the store, and so we're trying to just keep the recipes simple. We have some canned garbanzo beans, and you're going to see how I prepare them with some dried spices and stuff. So let's get to that. Okay. When we're normally cooking, there's not this kind of mise en place. There's not this kind of like organization happening, okay? Just so, definitely not. But we're pretty organized today. Okay. So, let's see here. Actually, I need to grab a bowl. Here, hold on. Let's do this. Okay. So, chickpeas. They're just canned chickpeas that I drained. That's it. You could cook them from scratch too if you have some kicking around. But chickpeas are one of those things that's kind of like always in our pantry. We eat a lot of chickpeas. Okay, so I'm gonna put those in the bowl, and then I've got some dried spices that I want to add to the chickpeas, and salt and pepper is good enough. Salt and pepper is absolutely good enough. If you have garlic powder, if you have onion powder, if you have, what else would be good on chickpeas?
Turmeric.
Turmeric, yeah, turmeric would be good. Paprika, yeah. So this is what I'm gonna put on them today, because I just have these dried things sort of kicking around. I've got a hot chili pepper that was actually grown by a coworker, and I have some mint leaves that Todd Hardy, who's a rye farmer up in the Northeast Kingdom, gave me. So I've got some mint leaves, I've got some coriander, I've got some cumin, I've got turmeric, whole peppercorns, smoked paprika, and salt. If I am gonna make these chickpeas, I wanna have quite a bit of seasoning on them. Will you throw that in the sink for me? I wanna have a lot of seasoning on them. So, give that a whirl. Good job. Okay, let's see how those look. Does it look like it's pretty good?
Yeah, it smells really good.
Yeah, what does it smell like?
It smells just like spices and
spices. It's kind of crazy, right? Like the mint, I'm using a lot of dried mint these days, and in like savory stuff, I guess because, you know, we don't have basil right now, and we won't for a while, not up here in Vermont, and so I feel like, oh shoot, I forgot the hot pepper. If you see me forgetting something, you say, hey, don't forget that. Okay, so let me grind this up. All right. Okay. You set that. Thanks, buddy. So dried spices, a little bit of olive oil. Okay. Grab me that sheet tray, buddy. Yeah, hold it there for 1 sec. Okay. Oop. Okay. So you could do these on the stovetop, But I've got the oven heating for the pita anyway, so I just try and take advantage of that. And that goes for any time I'm making bread at home or anything where I need to have the oven on. I don't know, I guess I'm always trying to think of what else can I have in there, so I'm not just wasting the heat. Okay, so that's pretty good. Those are gonna go on the bottom rack of the oven for, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so, something like that. And they'll develop a little bit of color, they'll reduce, they'll sort of caramelize some. Okay, you set a 10-minute timer, something like that? Okay. Oh, I'm gonna make the onions first, that's right. Arlo, will you turn on the hot water? Will you turn on the hot water? Okay, so, something that we eat a lot of, and there's always a jar in the fridge, are these like quick pickled onions or quick pickled carrots, or you can make quick pickled beets. You can make, what else? You can make habaneros too. We like habaneros quick pickled, and then we just use the vinegar off them because it's super spicy. It's like too hot for us to actually eat, right? Okay, so this is like a super simple way to make the quick pickle. And so Anthem, come in here and I'm going to show you what I've got in the bowl. So this is a tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon of salt, a big clove of garlic, and then I've got a pretty good sized red onion, and I've got some vinegar also. And so let me get the hot water. I'm going to do 2/3 of a cup of boiling water. And I do the boiling water first because I want it to dissolve the sugar and also heat the garlic, which is going to help it to flavor. So I'll do that, and I'll just start to combine a little bit. Oh, you turn that off. Once you don't hear it like grinding anymore, you know that everything's fallen in and it's good. Okay, so I've got my 2/3 a cup of boiling water in there. And again, that was 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 big clove of garlic, the water, and then 2/3 of a cup of vinegar, and I'm using cider vinegar. So it's equal parts sugar and salt, equal parts water and vinegar. And that goes in. And like I said, could be carrots, could be just about anything. And what this becomes for us is it becomes this like crunchy condiment. And so that's why I'm making it today, is because I want it inside my pita sandwich. And it literally takes, like, you're gonna see how quickly this works. Okay, just make sure they're covered. And whatever we don't eat today can go into the fridge in a jar, and you can eat them for a week or so. They're not going to go bad. There's enough acidity and salt in there that it's really going to be a sort of great way to naturally preserve it. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. And made the onions, made the chickpeas. Let's see how the pita are. And if the pita feel like they've softened up some, you set that tray, you set it on the table for me. You be careful. You got it? Yes. Okay. Yeah, these feel good actually. So what I'm looking for, let me put a little flour down, Anthony, and we'll come here. Just a little bit of flour down, and you can grab the rolling pin if you want. What I'm looking for is that they feel like when I compress them that they kind of don't immediately snap back. So they could relax a little bit more, but I think they're pretty good. I think they're gonna be pretty good. We're gonna give it a shot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll some of these, and I'm just sort of giving them like a little bit of pre-flattening. They do feel like they're a little snappy still. So if you're, and this goes for pizza, I guess pizza is like the biggest example that comes to mind where people are always feeling like the dough snaps back. It's like you roll it out and it snaps back. We call that elasticity. In baking terms, we call it elasticity. And the ability of a dough to stretch and then stay in that place is called extensibility. It extends well. So if the dough feels too elastic, just wait. Just walk away, go walk around the block, go clean your room. Something like that. Okay, so maybe maybe what we'll do is we'll roll a couple of those, and then they can hang out over here because they will pop a little bit better if you give them a little bit of time after rolling and before they hit the oven. Okay, a little bit of time. Okay, so let's try rolling some of these. I've got this little pin, and then I've got the big pin. I kind of like the big pin. See how this goes. Rolling pita, you can have some extra flour on the bench, and it's going to get shaken off, so it should be okay. I think we're going about 5 inches on this. I think that's a little short, but let's see. Oh, it's exactly 5. Is it exactly? No, it's almost 6. Okay, too big. There we go. So it's about like that. Measure it with your hand. How wide is your hand on there? About a little bit smaller than your hand. Okay, all right, so we'll remember that. So that's gonna be our first one. I think that looks like a pretty good size. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think for a single sandwich, it seems like that's a pretty good size.
Yeah.
It was 1/8 of the dough quantity, and what I would be inclined to do is to measure that weight, is to check it in grams. Scales around here someplace. So is to check it in grams and just see. Okay, you come do this one, and I'm gonna check on the chickpeas real quick because I can smell them. Stirring them around a little bit. They're good. They got a little bit more time. What I like is this color that I'm getting here, but I need a little bit more in the middle some, so I could like spread them out some if I wanted to. It's okay. All right. Just rinse my fingers. How's it going, Arlo?
Good. I think that's about good.
Is it good? It looks a little bit small. A little bit bigger. That's 4.5, so just a little bit more. Because you want to think about the size of the sandwich, and you're not going to be able to fit a full. You're not going to be able to fit one of these lamb sausages in there. So go a little bit more. Do you like this one better?
Sure.
Try that. See how that goes. And you can press a little harder. Check this out. If you roll, when you roll from the middle to the edge can help you. If you're having trouble, roll from the middle to the edge, and then flip it to make sure it's not stuck. From the middle to the edge, from the middle to the edge, like that. And then once you get close, if you want to also, you can kind of like massage it by hand too, like that. Okay. Want to do another one?
Yeah, sure.
Do as many as you want. All right, you do that one, I'm going to do this one. You smell the chickpeas?
Oh yeah.
Smells good, right?
Definitely.
What do you think about being out of school?
It's nice.
It's nice. We haven't been doing a lot of homework or anything yet, but next week it's going to be, next week we're going to get our schedules down a little bit and get a little bit more organized. Anthem, what are you thinking about being out of school?
Well, I don't have to go to school, but I still have the same amount of schoolwork.
You still have the same amount of work. And have teachers been sending your stuff out, or?
They haven't. I mean, that technically starts on Monday, but they've been telling us how it's going to work and stuff.
Okay.
It's kind of like an orientation.
So we're getting there. All right. Okay, what do you think? Are you sticking a little bit? So if you're sticking a little bit, step back for just a second. If you're sticking a little bit, what you can do is just grab some of this flour that we have on the surface, right? And make sure that it's not stuck. And then remember this trick. you can be very firm with this dough. This is not a delicate dough. So you can push down hard. Like I'm pushing pretty hard. It's gonna be okay. There we go. Okay. There's that. So we're gonna let these rest for a minute, and then we'll come back and we'll roll some of the others. But I want to show, the mix. I want to show this mix. Do you mind taking this? Thanks, buddy. Okay. So again, this is the Golden Pita Bread that we're making off the King Arthur website, and the only change, actually two changes. One is that it calls for 3 cups or 361 grams. Okay, you can turn that, and then maybe set a 5-minute timer and I'll check them again in 5. So it calls for 361 grams. I've used 2/3 of that quantity. 240 grams I've used as all-purpose, and 120 grams, am I doing my math right? I think so, right? 120 grams of white whole wheat flour. I want a little bit more whole grain, and it's not because I think that quantity of whole grain is going to make me feel like a superhero. It's that I like the flavor. I like the flavor a lot, so I want a little bit more flavor than just the white flour. I'm using the white flour because it's consistent and it has that nice strength, and the whole wheat for a little bit of flavor. Okay. So in the bowl, I have olive oil. I have a little bit of sugar. Sugar is optional, and I have salt. I have the AP flour, all-purpose flour, and then I have some of the white whole wheat. And can you bring that pitcher of water over here? Thanks, bud. So what I'm gonna do, hands are the best tool. It's okay. You're okay. Yeah, that's fine. That looks good. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, with my hand, best tool ever, just mix to combine. Those are my dry ingredients. You can do this in a mixer too. You could do it with your bread machine too, but at my house, I guess I'm the bread machine. Maybe. Is that right?
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely. Other people make bread though.
That's
Anthem
true.
actually helped me, a couple years ago I wrote a cookbook, and Anthem actually helped me test quite a bit of the stuff, as did my wife Julie, and so it's definitely, everybody bakes a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so everything's in there except for the cup of water. And this water is warmish. Our house is pretty chilly. We got the wood stove going today. It snowed this morning. So this water is 86 degrees. What I'm trying to do is get this dough to be somewhere in the low to mid 70s, because yeast has different activity levels at different temperature ranges, so dough temperature is actually important. Okay, so 1 cup of water. If you're adding whole grain and subbing for all-purpose, many recipes you may want to look at the hydration or the water content just a little bit and add some, but I'm going to see how this feels without any changes. I'm going to see how it feels and then go from there. Thank you, sir. And then I got some, the recipe says vegetable oil. I'm using olive oil. You could also use butter. It's okay. It's just oil, which is going to help with tenderness. Oil will help with tenderness. Okay. And then just stir to combine. This is a point where I have this thing that I do. I actually like the handle end of the stick for stirring bread more than this end. I don't like cleaning out these grooves. It's kind of annoying. So I use the handle end, and I'll show you how easily it cleans up. It's just a peculiarity of mine, I guess. So I actually use the dough to clean the bowl. See how that works? No waste. Once I get it down to where I feel like I can get my hands in there, I'm pretty close. Go like that and clean it up. So that's pretty clean. Okay, you take that for me? Thanks, bud. Okay. And then I just knead in the bowl. Depending on how this feels, I might get it out on the counter too, we'll see. Will you work on that for a second? Will you work on that for a second, and I'm gonna get the chickpeas out. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's about what I want color-wise. I want to see some brown bits. If you add a little bit more olive oil, you can leave them in there for quite a while and they actually get kind of crispy. They're really, really good. It's almost like a good bar snack. Okay, so chickpeas are done. Leave that there. And get a little bit of heat on that. Bring those up. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Okay, all right, let's see what's happening here. All right, come back over here, Arlo. Got a little bit of dry stuff. Looks like we could take just a little bit of water here. So what I'll do is I'm gonna go in with my hand and I'll just sprinkle some onto the dough, and that's okay, and then I'll grab this. I'm going to show you how I'm doing this in 1 second. Let me just get it together and then I'm going to have you take over, okay? See how I'm smearing it? I'm grabbing that and I'm just smearing it. Smear it and fold it back. Smear it and I'm folding it back. I haven't added any flour to the work surface. I don't need to. I don't need to. Bad joke. Dad joke. Okay. See how I'm smearing it with the palm of my hand, and then you can pull it back. Just smearing. Can you try?
Sure.
Yeah, that's good. Really good, actually. See if you can gather it together a little bit. Let's see here, let me show you a trick. So I think it's pretty good. You knead for a couple minutes and it's done. And then when you feel like it's kind of like that, what you can do is you can turn it over and you can make a nice tight ball by pulling it towards yourself with your hands around it like that. Or you can sort of push it like we will, like you may see bakers do, so that we have a nice round ball. This is not totally smooth, but after a few minutes of rising, I might give it a fold, or if I need it a little bit longer, I don't think that it would need a fold. So I'm going right back in the same bowl that I mixed it in. I don't want to dirty another thing. You can probably give those another shake and then turn it off. I'm just heating the sausages just a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna put the dough in. I got a little bit of oil in the bowl, and then I'll turn it once. And then you want to cover that. So maybe just put that lid on it for right now. No, this.
Stop.
There we go. So you want it to be airtight, and look, this is important. If a dough is going to sit, especially this time of year where it's winter here still, I guess it's today the first day of spring?
Yes.
I think it is the first day of spring. Okay, so early spring. It's still pretty dry, and one of the best things that we can do for dough is to protect it from drying. And so either put a lid on it like this or put the whole bowl inside of a plastic bag, something like that, as long as you protect it. Oh, and I was going to check the dough temp, wasn't I? Let's check and see. 77, so it's good. That's actually, I'm perfectly happy with that. 76 is usually where we're aiming. You want to go put that over by the window, buddy? Okay, so let me wash my hands, and sausages are warming up. Okay, are we ready to bake a pita? think we are. So let's see here. We can even do 2. I think we have room to do 2 at a time maybe. What do you think? I think we can do 2. Okay, so let's talk about the oven for a second. I have a bad oven. I use other words than bad for this oven. But for now I'm going to say it's a bad oven. I don't like it. The electronics have gone at least once. In some frames you may see what looks like an aluminum pie plate stuck near the electronics. It's a little bit of a workaround because the electronics kept getting too hot and the oven would just shut off. So I had the panel replaced anyway. I mention it because it's important to know that as a baker, tools are important, but skills are also important, and getting your process down is also important. And I feel like for me personally, I'm still able to make really good bread in this oven, which is not great, because I'm using really good ingredients and I've worked on my process a little bit. 13 years as a professional baker, way over 1 million loaves out of ovens. So it's a matter of practice, and you get to where you can work around. Everybody has, things that aren't great about their kitchen, I'm sure. Okay, so let's bake the pita. I think actually we could get 3 in there at a time, but let's just do 2. Let's just do 2 for right now. Okay, so one other note about the oven. I don't have a baking stone. The recipe calls for like a sheet tray, and you could also use a baking stone. I think what really helps for these is if you have a hot surface that you can put it onto. And so what I have in the oven is a baking steel. I like the steel because I can use it on top of the oven and inside the oven. And so that's what I'm using today, but you could also do this on a sheet tray, or you could do it on a baking stone, or you could even do it on the stovetop. And maybe, should we try one on the stovetop and just see how it goes? Okay, let's try it. Grab a pan. Where's my griddle, Anthem? Is it over there?
Yes, I think so.
No. All right. Here, yeah. Yeah, so you watch that for a second, but don't leave it open too long, okay? Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. It's just washed. So I'm going to get that hot, and I'll show you how we can do I'll show you how we can use the griddle. These are going to cook for 2 to 3 minutes, and then they're going to cook for 2 to 3 minutes, and then you can either flip them, or what I usually do is I just actually wait until they puff, and then I just maybe flip them for a second, and then I take them out. Get in there. Okay. So we'll leave those for a second while this heats up. Do you want to keep an eye on that while I go over here and do something? Oh, so you're just going to keep an eye on that for a second. Okay. And don't open it too many times, because you don't want to lose all your heat. Okay, so we need some other stuff for inside the pita. And so let's see how these onions look.
I think it might be done.
Are they done, you think?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm just quite.
I'm going to have a look. Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay, let's turn it over. Just going to turn them over. I'll just tell you, be careful about the steam coming out. It's very hot. So let's leave that. We're just going to give them for another minute. Turn that down. This looks pretty warm. Okay, so I'm going to put them in there. All right, I think we're good here. you don't want to over bake them because they will dry out, and you don't want them to dry out. Okay, so we'll let those go. They will deflate as they sit there. And let's do one more. Does this look hot? Not quite there yet. Let's do one more in the oven. And then we'll see about doing one on the stovetop. Do you want to do one on the stovetop?
Sure.
Sure, try it out? Okay, all right. We'll try one on the stovetop just to show you how you can do it without turning the oven on. Okay, come over here, Anthem. I'll show you some other stuff. So, cabbage is a great storage vegetable. A head of cabbage will last in the fridge, in the bottom of the fridge for how long? I mean, it could be there for quite a while, right? They don't we eat them, but if you forgot about one, it would be okay for a while. So anyway, we have a nice head of cabbage, nice head of red cabbage that I sliced very thinly, and then just salted a little bit, almost just like salted it to taste. And what the salt does is it helps to draw some of the moisture out and just soften it, makes it a little bit softer. The other thing that I have here that I thought that we would make for the inside, which is really easy, is a little bit of a yogurt sauce. And for the yogurt sauce, I've got plain whole milk yogurt. It's kind of a staple around here. So plain whole milk yogurt. Are you watching that? How's it doing? Oh, it's coming. Okay. So plain whole milk yogurt, just a little bit of sugar. I've got about maybe 1/2 or 2/3 of a cup in there. 1/2 teaspoon, maybe a little less of sugar. A little bit of salt, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna put a little bit, this is from our, actually, you know what, let's use this one. I'm gonna use a little bit of the vinegar mixture from the onions. I would use lemon juice, but we used our last lemon last night, and I'm not gonna go to the store for just a lemon. Close. Maybe turn it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There we go. Okay. So I just stir this to combine, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of cilantro. There we go.
Should I take it, Daddy? Should I take it out?
Yeah, good. Looks good. Looks really good. Let's see if that grill is hot in a second here.
That's hot.
Okay. And then use a little bit more. It should be bright. It should be like tart. So a little bit more.
Yeah, this is for like 400.
400.
Yeah, at least.
All right.
Alright.
No double dipping. It's really good. This is adding more than just acidity. It's adding some onion. It's really good. So good flavor there. All right. Let's clean this up just a little bit. Okay. Should we try one on the grill?
Sure.
All right.
Are we gonna do an open flame or just in the grill?
Should we do open flame too?
Sure.
We'll see how it puffs. And maybe we'll do some open flame too. What we like to do with roti is we like to do them on the griddle just until they begin to bubble, and then we turn them over and you do the other side for a second, and then you put them over an open flame and it gives them a little bit of char. It's a super flavorful way to do it. What do you think? I think if we're going to do this one over the open flame, we're okay. So you go ahead. You want to flip it and then...
It's sticking basically.
Oh, wait.
Sticking.
If it's stuck, it's okay. Just check it. There we go. There you go. You're good. You're good. Just turn it. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. And then put it over the flame for a second and see if you can get it to pop the rest of the way. You got it. There you go. And turn it.
Okay.
What do you think? Ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Just a little bit.
A little bit more char on it. Okay, that's probably good. Awesome. So there's that and that. Okay. These look good. They're super soft, right?
Yeah.
Super soft. Smells good too.
It does.
Smells really good, right? Okay. All right. So, Anthem, are you ready to eat? Yeah. Thumbs up. Okay. I have some plates out. Where are they? Here we go. All right. Do you want sausage or do you want plain or chickpeas?
Chickpeas.
Chickpeas. Either way. Okay.
Can you do both?
You can do both. Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Maybe that's what I'll have to
You gonna do both? Okay.
Yeah. Get the full experience.
The full experience. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Should we cut it in half or just tear the top off and put it in there?
Tear the top
I'm
off.
thinking tear the top off, right? Yeah. Okay.
It's like the falafel we had.
Yeah.
This is good.
It's good, right? Got a good pocket.
Oh yeah.
The pocket speaks for itself. Okay, so should we do Arlo's first?
Sure.
Okay. You want a whole sausage?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Then I news all day.
Whole sausage. Some chickpeas. You want some onions, right?
Oh yeah.
A little bit of onion. Maybe I'll do the cabbage first. Cabbage. Onions. Do you want a little bit of hot sauce?
Yes, please. And
Can you open that for me? And a little bit of yogurt, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. There we go. And a little bit of hot sauce. Okay. Did I put cabbage in? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right. You want to tuck in?
Sure.
Stay right here and let's see. Anything you want to try? Want to try it?
Man, this is really good.
What do you think? What do you taste?
It's like tanginess of onion. The yogurt's really good. A little bit of spicy. I haven't gotten the sausage yet, so.
Sausage is like hiding in the bottom.
And this peanut is really tender and
Tender, super tender, right?
super good.
And Anthem, you want basically the same one, right?
Yes,
Chickpeas
please.
and
Thank you.
everything. Okay. So I got cabbage, chickpeas, onions. You get the sausage? Not yet.
No. The cabbage is adding a lot.
And cabbage has a lot, right?
Crunching. Very good.
Okay. Anthem, I'm gonna set yours right here for right now, and then I'll take the camera and you can.
No,
Yep.
we don't.
Okay. Okay. Here goes mine. Chickpeas. Cabbage. Onions. Oh, Anthem, I didn't put any hot sauce in yours.
That's okay.
Is that okay?
No, you should try it. I was like
Just a little bit, right? Yeah. That. Okay. Cheers. Come here.
No, it's okay.
No, you're okay?
I'll eat it after.
Okay, afterwards. All right. Cheers. Good job. That was such a messy bite.
Whatever.
It was all over my face.
Not really.
No.
Just a little bit right here.
All right.
How about me?
Listen. Thank you for taking the time to have some normalcy with us. eating and food is where communities began, and it's such a great source of strength for us. And I'm so proud to be part of the community that is King Arthur, and also the communities that we foster in the baking world. We have a hashtag that we're using, and it's Bake With Us, and you'll see a lot more content from us in the coming weeks, or as long as it takes to get us to the other side of this. We'll get there, and baking and fellowship are some of the tools that will help us. So thank you, and thank you, Anthem, for holding the camera today. Okay, take care.